Take a deep dive into the hidden lives of once celebrated stars now facing their darkest chapters. In this video, we uncover the shocking downfalls of public figures who went from red carpets to prison bars. These notorious names are currently serving time for high-profile crimes that stunned the world and shattered their legacies. Drop a 1 in the comments and stay tuned until the end as we reveal the jaw-dropping truths behind their dramatic falls from grace. Jen Shah first rose to fame in 2020 as a star on The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, known for her lavish lifestyle and her marriage to Sharif Shah, a football coach at the University of Utah. She famously described their relationship as a FaceTime marriage, highlighting the challenges of their busy lives. However, just a year later, Jen's reality TV fame took a scandalous turn for all the wrong reasons. While filming, she became embroiled in serious legal troubles, facing accusations of money laundering and wire fraud. Jen Shah was arrested on charges of running a nationwide telemarketing scheme that specifically targeted elderly and vulnerable individuals, offering bogus business services in exchange for steep fees. The shocking nature of the accusation swiftly eclipsed her on-screen persona, transforming her from a reality TV sensation into a lightning rod for controversy. In 2023, after pleading guilty to conspiracy to commit wire fraud, she was sentenced to 6.5 years in federal prison. During her sentencing, Shah expressed regret, stating, "My actions have hurt innocent people." Despite the gravity of her crimes, reports of her good behavior behind bars have led to multiple sentence reductions, leaving fans and critics alike questioning what lies ahead for the once glamorous face of the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Ryan Grantham, who began acting in 2007, seemed destined for a steady rise in the entertainment world with roles in popular productions like Supernatural, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, iZombie, and Riverdale. But that promising trajectory came to a devastating halt in 2020 when he committed an unthinkable act that shocked both fans and the industry. In a deeply tragic turn of events, Grantham fatally shot his mother in their home in Squamish, British Columbia. He later told authorities that he believed he was sparing her from witnessing the dark plans he was contemplating, an explanation that only deepened the heartbreak and confusion surrounding the case. After the tragic incident, Ryan Grantham recorded a video confession while on the road, initially contemplating further violence. However, he ultimately chose to turn himself in to the authorities, expressing deep remorse for his actions. In 2022, he pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and was sentenced to life in prison, with the possibility of parole after 14 years. The devastating case brought his acting career to an abrupt end and sparked broader conversations about the often hidden battles with mental health. Grantham's downfall serves as a haunting reminder of how untreated emotional struggles can lead to irreversible consequences. Danny Masterson, widely recognized for his role as Hyde on That 70s Show, faced a wave of serious sexual assault allegations beginning in March 2017, with accusations dating back to the early 2000s. Though Masterson denied any wrongdoing, the fallout was swift. He was dropped by his talent agency and fired from the Netflix series The Ranch. As the case unfolded, it took on additional layers of controversy when several accusers, who were also members of the Church of Scientology, alleged they were subjected to harassment, surveillance, and violations of privacy by the organization after coming forward. What began as a criminal investigation soon evolved into a larger battle involving power, influence, and accountability. Masterson's first trial ended in a mistrial, but a second trial in May 2023 brought a decisive outcome. A new jury found him guilty on 2 of the 3 sexual assault charges, marking a pivotal moment in a case that had captured widespread public attention. In September 2023, Masterson was sentenced to 30 years to life in prison, a sentence that reflected the gravity of his crimes and served as a powerful reminder that even the most recognizable faces are not above the law. Todd and Julie Chrisley became household names with the debut of Chrisley Knows Best in 2014, a reality series that showcased their extravagant lifestyle and sharp-witted family dynamic. The show's popularity led to multiple spin-offs and helped build a media empire that positioned the Chrisleys as reality TV royalty. However, their picture-perfect image began to unravel when, in early 2022, they were hit with a wave of serious legal charges, including bank fraud and tax evasion. Prosecutors alleged the couple had falsified financial documents to secure over $30 million in loans, exposing the truth behind their luxury and placing their lavish lifestyle under the harsh glare of public and legal scrutiny. Critics were quick to point out the irony of a couple who built their brand on wealth and family values, all while allegedly committing fraud to maintain the illusion. In the end, justice caught up with them. Todd was sentenced to 12 years in prison, Julie to 7 years, and their accountant, Peter Tarantino, received a 3-year sentence. As of 2024, Julie remains in custody under the supervision of U.S. Marshals while awaiting resentencing after a successful appeal. The Chrisleys' dramatic fall from grace serves as a cautionary tale about the perils of chasing fame and the steep cost of living beyond one's means, forcing a hard look at the reality behind their once polished image. Tory Lanez, born Daystar Shua Peterson, rose to fame in 2016 with his dynamic fusion of rap and R&B, earning widespread acclaim for hit tracks like Say It and Love Me Now. With his distinct sound and confident persona, he quickly established himself as a rising star in the hip-hop world. But in 2020, his soaring career took a dark and unexpected turn. Following a heated altercation at a Los Angeles house party, Lanez was arrested for carrying a concealed weapon, an incident that would soon unravel into a high-profile legal battle and cast a long shadow over his once promising trajectory. The situation took a shocking turn when Megan Thee Stallion publicly accused Tory Lanez of shooting her multiple times following the altercation, a revelation that sent shockwaves through the music industry and divided fans. Lanez vehemently denied the allegations, even releasing an album that addressed the controversy, further fueling public debate. Despite his efforts to control the narrative, his legal troubles only deepened. In 2023, Lanez was found guilty on multiple felony charges related to the shooting and was sentenced to 10 years in prison. The verdict marked a dramatic fall from grace for an artist once hailed as one of hip-hop's brightest rising stars. Elizabeth Holmes launched the health tech startup Theranos in 2003 with an ambitious mission to revolutionize medical diagnostics. Dropping out of Stanford University, she captivated investors with the promise of the Edison device, a compact machine she claimed could run a wide range of blood tests using just a few drops from a finger prick. The bold vision positioned Holmes as a rising star in Silicon Valley, helping her secure nearly $1 billion in funding and earning her comparisons to innovators like Steve Jobs. However, Theranos' groundbreaking promise began to unravel as investigations revealed a harsh truth. The technology simply didn't work as claimed. Behind closed doors, the company had knowingly misled investors, doctors, and patients about the capabilities of its blood testing device. In June 2018, Elizabeth Holmes was indicted on multiple counts of fraud and conspiracy, facing the possibility of up to 20 years behind bars. Despite pleading not guilty, her highly publicized trial gripped the nation, exposing the depths of deception behind one of Silicon Valley's biggest scandals. Ultimately, Holmes was convicted on 4 counts of fraud and sentenced to more than 11 years in prison. She began serving her sentence at a federal facility in Texas in May 2023. Another star is Mel Hall, who made his mark in Major League Baseball for over a decade, playing for teams like the Chicago Cubs, Cleveland Indians, and New York Yankees. Fans fondly remember his spectacular plays, including a memorable 3-run homer that secured a victory for the Yankees. Hall even played professionally in Japan before retiring in 1996. However, in 2007, Mel Hall's life took a dark and disturbing turn when he was arrested in Lewisville, Texas, on charges of sexual assault. As the investigation progressed, more victims came forward, revealing a pattern of abuse that stretched back to incidents involving minors during his post-baseball career. In one especially troubling case, Hall ingratiated himself with a family under the guise of mentorship, claiming he intended to marry their young daughter, only for the situation to spiral into deeply alarming territory. In 2009, he was convicted on multiple counts of sexual assault and sentenced to 45 years in prison. The once celebrated athlete's legacy now lies in ruins, a sobering reminder of how fame can mask deeply disturbing behavior. Amy Locane, best known for her standout roles in the sitcom Spencer and the hit soap opera Melrose Place, won over audiences in the 1990s with her charisma and on-screen presence. With memorable lines like, "Sorry for getting you locked up tonight, you were the best date I ever had," she seemed destined for long-term success in Hollywood. But by 2005, Locane had quietly stepped away from the spotlight, resurfacing briefly in a few short films in 2010. That same year, her life took a tragic and irreversible turn. Locane was arrested for speeding and driving under the influence, leading to a devastating crash that claimed the life of 60-year-old Helen Seaman, an event that would forever alter the course of her life and legacy. Reflecting on the tragedy, Amy Locane openly admitted, "I drove home while I was intoxicated and the consequences were devastating." In 2013, she was sentenced to 3 years in prison and released in 2015, claiming she had remained sober ever since the fatal crash. However, the perceived leniency of her sentence ignited public backlash and prompted legal appeals. In 2019, a judge imposed an additional 5-year sentence, which was later extended to 8 years in 2020. Locane is expected to be eligible for parole by the end of 2024. Taking accountability, she stated, "I made a mistake, and I have done everything I can to not be the person who does what I did." Her story stands as a powerful reminder of how one reckless decision can alter lives forever, and the long road to redemption that can follow. Gary Glitter, known for his signature glam rock style and vibrant costumes, was once a prominent figure in the music scene, famous for his catchy hits. However, his career took a serious downfall following severe legal issues. In 1999, he was sentenced to prison for offenses related to child pornography. After serving his sentence, Glitter expressed a desire to move forward, stating, "I've paid for my mistakes and want to put it all behind me." After his release, Glitter traveled internationally but encountered further legal troubles in 2006 when he was convicted in Vietnam for unrelated offenses. In 2015, Gary Glitter, referred to in court by his birth name, Paul Gadd, was convicted of historical child sexual abuse offenses as part of the UK's Operation Yewtree investigation. He was sentenced to 16 years in prison, with the judge noting, "You will almost certainly be better known as Gary Glitter," underscoring the stark contrast between his former fame and his crimes. In 2023, Glitter was released on license, but was swiftly recalled to prison after violating the terms of his release by attempting to access prohibited material. His story serves as a sobering example of how past actions carry lasting consequences and underscores the complex challenges of rehabilitation, accountability, and public trust in the wake of serious crimes. Jared Fogle, once the iconic face of Subway, rose to fame with his incredible weight loss journey, becoming a symbol of healthy living. However, in 2015, his partnership with Subway abruptly ended after the FBI raided his home, uncovering shocking details. During the investigation, authorities found that Fogle had been involved in distributing and receiving inappropriate material and admitted to crossing state lines for illicit activities with minors. Facing a potential 50-year sentence, Fogle agreed to a plea deal and was sentenced to 15 years and 8 months in prison, with the possibility of early release in 2029. Michael Jace, best known for portraying Officer Julian Lowe on The Shield and appearing in films like Forrest Gump, saw his life take a devastating turn in 2014. After his wife, April, filed for divorce, Jace responded not with acceptance, but with a tragic act of violence that would shatter his family. When April returned home from taking their children to baseball practice, a heated confrontation unfolded, ending with Jace fatally shooting her in front of their young sons. The heartbreaking incident marked a grim turning point in his life, transforming a once-respected actor into the center of a harrowing true crime story. After the tragic incident, Michael Jace called 911 to report the shooting, while concerned neighbors also contacted emergency services after hearing gunfire. The shocking nature of the crime left the community stunned and cast a harsh spotlight on the often hidden realities of domestic violence. In 2016, Jace was convicted of second-degree murder and sentenced to 40 years to life in prison. His downfall serves as a powerful and sobering reminder of how unchecked emotional turmoil and unresolved conflict in relationships can lead to irreversible tragedy, and underscores the critical importance of seeking help before violence takes hold. Suge Knight, the formidable co-founder of Death Row Records, was instrumental in shaping the sound and rise of West Coast hip-hop during its golden era. Known for his imposing presence and deep ties within the music industry, Knight became one of the most powerful and feared figures in hip-hop. But as his influence expanded, so did his legal troubles, which increasingly overshadowed his contributions to music. In 2015, while visiting the set of Straight Outta Compton, the NWA biopic, Knight became embroiled in a violent confrontation with two men, Terry Carter and Clee Bone Sloan. The altercation took a deadly turn when Knight struck both men with his truck, killing Carter and seriously injuring Sloan, marking the beginning of his most serious legal battle yet. After the fatal incident, Suge Knight surrendered to authorities and was hit with multiple charges, including murder and attempted murder. As the legal proceedings unfolded, Knight ultimately agreed to a plea deal in 2018, pleading no contest to voluntary manslaughter. He was sentenced to 28 years in prison, with the possibility of parole in 2034. The conviction marked a dramatic fall from grace for one of hip-hop's most influential power players. Once a towering figure in the music world, Knight's legacy is now defined as much by violence and controversy as it is by his contributions to the genre, leaving fans and the industry to reflect on what might have been. Harvey Weinstein became the central figure in a global reckoning on sexual misconduct, as his downfall ignited a movement that empowered countless survivors to share their stories. More than 100 women came forward with accusations of harassment or sexual assault, with some claims stretching as far back as the 1980s. Prosecutors described his behavior as a calculated and long-standing abuse of power, using his influence in the film industry to exploit and silence victims. The mounting allegations led to multiple criminal charges filed against Weinstein in both New York and Los Angeles, marking a dramatic fall from grace for one of Hollywood's most powerful producers. In 2020, Harvey Weinstein was sentenced to 23 years in prison following his convictions in New York, and later received an additional 16-year sentence for related charges in Los Angeles. However, in a surprising twist, his New York conviction was overturned in 2021, opening the door for a possible retrial. Now 70 years old and reportedly in declining health, Weinstein still faces the strong likelihood of spending the rest of his life behind bars. His high-profile case, along with others involving celebrities who received perceived leniency, has sparked ongoing debates about equality, justice, and how the legal system handles the powerful. Tammy Lynn Sytch, famously known as Sunny, was once one of professional wrestling's most iconic and trailblazing figures. During the peak of her WWE career, she captivated audiences with her charisma, becoming the most downloaded woman on the internet in 1996 and a fan favorite across the globe. Her influence helped redefine the role of women in wrestling, blending athleticism with mainstream appeal. In recognition of her impact, Sytch was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2011, cementing her legacy as one of the most memorable and groundbreaking personalities in the history of the sport. However, Tammy Lynn Sytch's life outside the ring became increasingly marred by a string of legal troubles that cast a long shadow over her once celebrated legacy. Over the years, she faced multiple arrests, including charges of harassing an ex-boyfriend and repeated DUI offenses. In 2022, her legal issues reached a devastating climax when she was involved in a fatal DUI crash in Volusia County, Florida. Sytch slammed into another vehicle, killing the driver, Julian Lassiter. At the time of the collision, her blood alcohol level was reportedly 4 times the legal limit, and she was driving with a suspended license. The incident marked her 4th DUI-related offense in under a decade, transforming her story from wrestling royalty to a cautionary tale of repeated recklessness and tragic consequences. Joe Exotic, the flamboyant and controversial zookeeper turned celebrity, shot to global fame through the wildly popular Netflix docuseries Tiger King. The series chronicled his chaotic life, eccentric persona, and escalating feud with animal rights activist Carole Baskin, a rivalry so extreme that Exotic was eventually accused of plotting to have her killed. But the drama didn't end there. Beyond the headline-grabbing conflict, Exotic faced a slew of serious charges, including the illegal killing of tigers and the unlawful sale of endangered animals, all in violation of federal wildlife laws. His outrageous behavior and legal troubles turned him from a bizarre internet sensation into a convicted felon. In 2019, a federal jury found Joe Exotic guilty on 17 counts of animal cruelty and 2 counts of murder for hire, resulting in a 22-year prison sentence. His dramatic downfall captivated the public and ignited national debates around animal rights and the dark underbelly of exotic animal ownership. Though he appealed the conviction, the court granted only a minor reduction, shaving just 1 year off his sentence. Now, at 58, Exotic remains behind bars, facing the lasting consequences of his actions. His story continues to stir controversy, leaving behind a complicated legacy that blurs the lines between spectacle, exploitation, and the urgent need for reform in wildlife conservation. Josh Duggar, once a familiar face on the hit TLC reality series 19 Kids and Counting, saw his wholesome public image collapse under the weight of deeply troubling revelations. The show, which followed the lives of Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar and their 19 children, was abruptly canceled in 2015 after it was revealed that Josh had engaged in inappropriate behavior with multiple minors, including several of his own sisters. While the statute of limitations prevented criminal charges at the time, the damage to his reputation was irreversible. In 2021, Duggar was arrested again, this time for receiving and possessing child sexual abuse material. Despite efforts to appeal, he was convicted and sentenced to nearly 13 years in federal prison, marking a shocking and dramatic fall from grace for a once celebrated reality TV personality. Ian Watkins, frontman of the Welsh band Lostprophets, was once a central figure in the emo and alternative rock scene of the early 2000s. Fans embraced hits like Last Train Home, and the band's emotional sound earned them a loyal global following. But that admiration turned to shock and revulsion in 2012 when Watkins's dark double life was exposed. Initially arrested on drug-related charges, a deeper investigation into his home led to the discovery of disturbing materials involving minors. As authorities uncovered the full extent of his crimes, it became horrifyingly clear that Watkins had used his fame to manipulate and exploit in ways that stunned both the public and the music industry. Although many fans initially clung to the hope that the allegations were false, those hopes were crushed in 2013 when Ian Watkins pleaded guilty to a string of horrifying charges, including multiple serious sexual offenses. He was sentenced to 29 years in prison, with an additional 10 months added after being caught with a mobile phone while behind bars. The shock deepened when it was revealed that the mothers of his 2 young victims had actively assisted in his crimes. They were sentenced to 14 and 17 years, respectively. To protect the children's identities, the women's names have never been publicly disclosed. This deeply disturbing case stands as a chilling example of how fame can be manipulated for evil, and it remains one of the most devastating scandals in modern music history. R. Kelly, once hailed as an R&B icon with a string of chart-topping hits and a powerful voice, is now serving a lengthy prison sentence following years of mounting allegations and public scrutiny. While whispers of misconduct had followed him for decades, the first major controversy erupted in 2002 with a leaked video allegedly showing Kelly inappropriately engaging with a minor. Though he was acquitted in 2008, the accusations never fully faded. In 2019, the explosive docuseries Surviving R. Kelly aired, featuring emotional and detailed testimonies from survivors that reignited public outrage and pushed law enforcement to act. Soon after, Kelly was arrested and hit with a slew of federal and state charges. In September 2021, a Brooklyn judge sentenced him to 30 years in prison, marking a dramatic fall from grace and a long overdue reckoning for a once celebrated artist. We begin with Kid Creole, a trailblazing figure in hip-hop history and a founding member of the legendary group Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. At the height of his fame, he helped shape the sound of a generation, earning a place in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But as the group's influence faded, so did his presence in the spotlight. By 2017, Nathaniel Glover, better known as Kid Creole, had left the music industry behind and was working as a handyman in Manhattan. It was a stark contrast from his early days of fame, marking a difficult and humbling new chapter in his life. Kid Creole's life took a tragic and unexpected turn in 2017 when he crossed paths with a homeless man named John Jolly on a Manhattan street. Surveillance footage captured the two exchanging words before vanishing from view. Moments later, Jolly was found fatally stabbed and later died at the hospital. Creole claimed he acted in self-defense, alleging that Jolly had made unwanted advances toward him. However, the court rejected his defense. In 2022, he was convicted of first-degree manslaughter and sentenced to 16 years in prison, followed by 5 years of post-release supervision. The incident marked a devastating downfall for a hip-hop pioneer whose legacy is now overshadowed by a single, irreversible act. Corey Miller, widely known by his stage name C-Murder, rose to prominence in the late 90s as a key member of the rap group True and for his successful solo career. With gritty hits like Murder One and Down for My Ends, he earned a loyal following and carved out his place in Southern hip-hop. But his rapid ascent came to a halt in 2002 when he was arrested for the fatal shooting of 16-year-old Steve Thomas during an altercation at a nightclub. Already facing a 10-year sentence for a separate attempted murder charge, Miller was ultimately convicted of Thomas's killing in 2009 and sentenced to life in prison, bringing a promising career to a dramatic and controversial end. Over the years, C-Murder has consistently maintained his innocence, launching multiple appeals in an effort to overturn his conviction. In 2018, his case took a surprising turn when two key witnesses recanted their testimonies, alleging they were coerced by law enforcement. One of them, Kenneth Jordan, stated under oath that police had threatened him with unrelated charges if he didn't falsely identify Miller as the shooter. These revelations reignited public interest and raised serious questions about the integrity of the original trial. Still, in 2023, a judge upheld Miller's life sentence, dealing a major blow to his efforts for a retrial. As he remains behind bars, the former rap star continues to fight a complex legal battle, reflecting on a career once filled with promise and the lingering hope for justice. What's your take? When it comes to celebrity sentencing, which case do you think reflects the greatest example of leniency? Nicole Richie, Vince Neil, Matthew Broderick, or perhaps someone else entirely? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. We've got plenty more compelling stories and shocking twists coming your way in future videos, so be sure to stay tuned. Until next time, take care and goodbye.